Hey everybody, Zach Bulls and Andrew Sartori here, joining you live. Yeah, you read that right. We are going to be talking about something pretty intimate. Something that happened in the beginning of our relationship that I interpreted to be a disaster and was interpreted by Andrew a little differently. Hey Matt, thanks for joining us. So we're going to be talking about how I gave Andrew gonorrhea when we first started dating. And we're going to tell you a little bit about our experience and how it actually ended up being, hey Ross, hey Gary, how this experience actually ended up being quite a blessing in disguise.
Yes. So Zach gave me gonorrhea.
I did.
Hey Cody, hey Peter. So yeah, and it's a really interesting story. So I mean, it's not that interesting how it happened.
It's pretty interesting,
but
actually.
Okay, so yeah, so Zach and I started hanging out. Hey Lori. And we got intimate, as people do when they start hanging out. And we decided we really liked each other. And this was after Zach had told me he was HIV positive. So I already knew that. I was aware of that. And I was okay with that. Hey Neil, good to see you. Hey Jason.
Oh yeah, and just before we get too into this, hey James, if you guys are joining us live or catching the replay, please feel free to shoot us some thumbs up and some hearts or some wow faces. And we love hearing your comments down below, so be sure to chime in as you're watching this.
Yeah. So the logical thing that I was like, okay, so I'm getting into a new relationship. I should get tested, get the full panel, and trying to be responsible. And I was expecting it to come back clean because I had just gotten out of a really serious monogamous relationship, and I was 99.99% sure my partner before Zach was completely faithful. And so I was just being responsible, getting my tests, and I got the test back. I got a phone call, and they were like, so, yeah, you tested positive for gonorrhea of the throat. And I was like, what? How could that happen? I knew it either had to have been Zach or my ex-partner must have cheated on me. And I was really confident that wasn't the case. And so I was really surprised. I didn't have any symptoms, and at that point Zach and I had only done oral sex. We had not done any kind of intercourse.
And I should just say right away, Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry if this embarrasses you.
Yes, sorry Mom as well.
We love you.
So I didn't have any symptoms or anything, and so at first I was confused. I was like, but I wasn't angry though. I kind of asked myself, I was like, okay, like what does this mean? Honestly, the only thing I was really angry about was that it meant I would have to take antibiotics because I pride myself on not needing pharmaceutical drugs.
Gary says, we need to have a little sex ed chat if you didn't know how this happened, Andrew. That's a good point, Gary.
So I just wasn't sure, and I mean, okay, I guess I did kind of have an idea.
You connected the dots.
I connected the dots. So I called Zach, and we weren't living together or anything at this point. And so I just called Zach. I wasn't trying to assume anything. I thought maybe my ex did cheat on me and I was blindsided. But the last thing I wanted to do was reach out to him to ask him about that. So I asked Zach first. I was like, hey, Zach, so I mean, just so you know, thanks, Kavor, I'm glad you appreciate the honesty. Just so you know, I tested positive for gonorrhea.
Right. And so when I received this phone call, it really freaked me the F out. I was surprised at how calm Andrew was on the phone, but Andrew's always a really calm, level-headed guy, so I really didn't know what he was thinking. And I immediately thought the worst. I went straight to victim energy, and I started thinking, oh my God, I just screwed up this relationship. I just ruined a potentially amazing match. I mean, I knew that Andrew was the man of my dreams. I was already head over heels in love. And I remember going to work that day just bawling my eyes out, telling my boss, I just ruined something that could have been so amazing. I don't know how Andrew's ever going to forgive me. He's going to think all of these horrible things about me and think I'm a total slut and not want to be with me. I mean, I already told him I was HIV positive, and I was really impressed with his reaction to that. But I thought, oh no, I just ruined everything, and it was just really amazing. I was like literally shaking and crying, but I called Andrew back, and he really reassured me that things were going to be okay. And in a moment, we're going to tell you how this actually ended up being such a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to keep an open mind because I didn't know what might have happened. So I asked him, and first how honest Zach was about it. Zach, he didn't even know he had it himself.
I didn't.
So he went and got screened and got antibiotics too, and so. How could I have not, forgiven him for how honest he was and how genuine he was about his response? And by this time I had trained my brain to ask myself, why am I upset about something? And so maybe if I started to get triggered at first, what does it really mean? He could have gotten it just as easily as I did. Like, a lot of people don't wear condoms with oral sex, and that. And we didn't. So,
right.
But in the past, I probably would have been really angry, triggered, if I had just started dating a guy, a few years before that, and I could have just blown it all because, oh, that's nasty, that's gross, fuck you, you gave this to me,
right.
Like getting into that anger energy, that blame. But instead, I wanted to be open because I really enjoyed the connection we had and the times we were having. And so what did that mean? So I had it of the throat, he had it.
Okay, that's we don't have to go there.
So basically, that meant we couldn't kiss, we couldn't do anything like.
While we were both on the antibiotics.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks, I think it was.
And I don't know if you heard, but yeah, Andrew, we hadn't gone all the way yet. We hadn't had sex yet.
Yes, and so what did that mean? We still wanted to hang out together, and so what did it kind of almost force us to do instead? Instead, we hung out on the couch, we talked for hours and hours.
We connected.
We connected, and we got to know each other in really deep, positive ways. And
it's true, because before that, we really couldn't keep our hands off of each other. Like, we were having a lot of really great connections, but, I mean, it was just very, very hot and heavy almost every time we had gotten together before that. So this was a really big change. And I agree, it really ended up being a blessing in disguise because we got to spend so much amazing quality time together and really talk about our goals and our dreams and our past and our history, and got to know everything about each other and completely just fall in love with more than what's on the outside, more than that sexual attraction, which was so strong. And it was really an incredible experience.
Right, yeah, so it facilitated us really connecting at the heart level instead of in other ways. And so I still believe to this day that was a really solid.
Yeah.
It helped us build a really solid foundation.
Yeah, I found out, like, Andrew told me, like, he had told all of his friends, and I was like, what? Are you crazy? Like, he told all of his best friends and was talking about how it was, like, the greatest thing ever, and at first I was just like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
How can he think this way? And then, I eventually realized, like, what a blessing it was. I mean, it was frustrating and hard to keep our hands off of each other, if you know what I mean, but at the same time, it was really rewarding to be able to truly connect on such a deep level. And I believe there's no accidents, there's no consequences, and I think everything happened exactly as it was supposed to, and it really fortified, if that's the right word, this really like made our relationship that much stronger and that much more firm. And I'm not suggesting that you give your partner gonorrhea to make it a successful relationship, but I'm really glad that this happened the way it did, actually. It really turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how things can happen. Hey Dale, hey Henry, good to see y'all. Hey Bill. And so ultimately, though, it all comes down to like our energy levels and how we handle things.
Yeah.
And it would have been so easy to just be pissed about it and be in victim energy level or anger energy level. Oh, this sucks. Hey, Bryson, good to see you. Hey, Alan.
And if you guys are just joining us, yes, we're talking about the time that I gave Andrew gonorrhea.
Yeah, and so it would have been so easy to just wallow in pity, frustration, anger, resentment, and maybe just watch movies all the time instead and be like, oh, well, we can't screw around. We might as well just watch TV all day or all night.
We had amazing communication, and we talked about it, and I expressed how sorry I was and how I had no idea that I had it, and Andrew listened to me, and he was open to my apologies, and he saw how much I cared about him and how much this relationship or potential relationship meant to me, and it was really a beautiful connection. And how can these people at home relate to this story? How can they use this in a positive way?
So we want to bring it back to how it can be relevant, because I imagine you probably aren't dealing with gonorrhea right now.
Hopefully.
Which that was another. I was excited to tell people about it to like decrease the stigma, because there's lots of stigma around things like that and shame and stuff
And this was your first STD, right?
Yeah, it was the first and last time.
That's right.
Fingers crossed to get an STD. So that's also why I wanted to talk about it openly, to kind of help with the stigma.
Yeah.
But anyways,
speaking of stigma, because I'm HIV positive and Andrew's HIV negative, and we're also a really good example of how that type of dynamic can be a very successful relationship.
Right. Yes.
Sorry, just to throw that in there.
Yeah, and so that allowed us to really build a foundation, and obviously we've continued to communicate and build a really solid relationship that's brought us both, honestly, more fulfillment and joy than we thought was possible in a relationship.
Yeah, I think that's the foundation of why our relationship is so successful, because we're both very different people. We both have different types of thinking, different ways of going about things, but we have such an amazing level of communication with each other, and we are very open and honest with how we're feeling, and we're willing to listen to the other person, and I think that's what's vital to having a successful relationship. And Andrew's right. It's about the energy levels. I mean, it's about the type of energy that we both perceive this from, and although I went to victim at first, Andrew really just went straight to level 5 energy, which is a level of opportunity, finding a silver lining, finding a way to make this experience into a positive one. And he pulled me up into that energy as well, and we both saw this as a really beautiful opportunity to really get to know each other. And I think that's the biggest takeaway we hope for you guys, is to realize that you have the power to interpret any situation however you choose, and you're not forced to instinctually react without thinking. You have the power to stop and have the emotional intelligence to choose how you want to show up. When I told Andrew that news, I'm sure he found out from the doctor. I'm sure he was a little startled at first, but he chose to not blow up. He chose to not throw a shit fit about it. He chose not to blame me and be angry at me. He chose to have compassion and love and to see this as an opportunity, and that's what this turned into.
Yes, absolutely. And Zach chose to be open to it as well, and to receive my love, to forgive himself of something that wasn't even a big deal. And also I want to acknowledge Zach, because it takes a lot of security and stability to be able to say on a public forum like this, oh yeah, I gave my boyfriend gonorrhea. Like that's something that takes some bravery and some stability and courage, and so that's what it all comes down to. And now it's funny. Now Zach is a coach that helps people in these energy levels, figuring out where you might be operating in victim or anger or more responsibility or opportunity. Because ultimately, the more you're able to operate from a perspective of opportunity in your life, and that can be if maybe you haven't been able to attract a great relationship even though you feel like you've been trying really hard, or you might be super stressed in your job and things just aren't going nearly as well as you want. You might be stuck in a victim or anger kind of frustration. And from that perspective, it's really hard to see what opportunities there might be for you to change things up and have more success and happiness in these areas. And so that's what we love helping people with. So if you would love to be able to operate at a much higher energy level so you can achieve a lot more in your life, in your relationships, your career, or even with your health, then type in thriving in this video and one of us will reach out to you and we'll have a conversation. We'd love to see if we can help you or if something else might be a good fit.
My sister-in-law Sabrina's watching. Hi, Sabrina.
Hey, Sabrina.
Good to see you. I don't know if you knew about this or not, but surprise. But yeah, like Andrew said, if this sounds like something you would be interested in, and when I say that, I don't mean interested in getting gonorrhea. I mean if you seem like you might be interested in opening yourself up to new perspectives, new ways of thinking. If you find yourself easy to anger or easy to feel sorry for yourself, there is another way. There's a whole nother way that you can approach things. And it takes a little practice, but over time you can really start showing up in a whole new way. It's something that I've been able to do, and my life has gotten so much better because of it. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if that's of interest to you, type thriving in the comments. And also, we hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to laugh at us.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to laugh at ourselves too. I'm glad we're able to do that. And yes, and this is just one story of many that I'm sure we'll be sharing in the future. So look out for those. And is that anything else you want to say?
I just want to thank you guys for joining us today, whether you're joining us live or catching the replay. We always love coming to you guys and sharing ourselves with you, and we really appreciate you watching and joining us. So yeah, please feel free to shoot some comments down below, shoot us some hearts or thumbs ups or some wow faces, whatever you feel like, and we look forward to coming again and joining you guys real soon.
Yes. Also, bye for now.
Bye.